I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. We are living through unprecedented times with a global pandemic now approaching its third year. As a result, the Michigan Homeowner Assistance Fund was created. This fund, administered by the state of Michigan, is designed to help homeowners cope with pandemic-related hardships, such as delinquent property taxes. See if you qualify. Please visit. Call 313-388-9799 or email taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Well, good morning. If you were looking for the Friday broadcast, the weekly broadcast of the Ask Welfare Rights Project program, you've been successful. And this week, Welfare Rights is here. I want to thank my sister Shoshona Shakur last week for filling in and making a presentation about the wonderful work that they're doing to protect people from foreclosures. I called her at the absolute last moment to find out if she would be available to sit in on the broadcast, and she's so gracious, and of course she said yes, and I'm told by my engineer that she did a wonderful job last week, and I'm so glad of that. If you're here today, and I hope you are, we're going to do something about boosting up a little bit more visibility and advertising so that people know they can still contact us at Welfare Rights at this Friday broadcast at this wonderful community station. If you're looking for us and you want to bring some news or call us about something that you think would be of benefit, call-in numbers are at the bottom of your screen. And if you can't see them, let me say what they are. They're all area code 313 because we're in Highland Park. 868-0342 or 868-0351 or 868-4336. You can always call in and share or ask questions, give a point of view, and we'll see what we can do to enhance and to strengthen, to energize our community because things are falling apart all over the place. If you're a computer person, and you're interested in looking at the show live, you can do that. Go to www.tv33whpr.com. My good buddy Bob Sisler, a retiree with the UAW, called me this morning, and I asked him to tune into the station this morning, www.tv33whpr.com. And, of course, I always talk about if you have one of those older model TV sets and you have a wire coat hanger, you can always, you know how to hook that up in the back and go to WHPS at 15.2. In my house, it's in the kitchen. Got that little TV sitting on the table and that little iron coat hanger, and you turn it the right way, and I can watch. So we've got a couple of things going on, more than a couple, but some information I promised that I would share. Today is the 31st of March, a Friday. The Winter Protection Program for seniors, and seniors are described as, I think they say 62, could be 65, but I think they say 62 years of age and older for purposes of DTE. Alrighty, and that means effective the 1st of November through the 31st of March, which is today, Friday, the last day. This is the Winter Protection Program from November 1st. So November, December, January, February, March, 5 months. Seniors are exempt from being shut off. It's a good thing. The bad thing is that the message that our seniors hear is that they don't have to pay a DTE bill, lights or gas, during those 5 months, and that's true. But at the end of that period, which is today, you're going to owe November, December, January, February, and March. And of course, the panic sets in because by tomorrow, which is April 1st, April Fool's Day, those bills are going to start being mailed out and coming to people's homes. And you will owe $500 or $600 or $700 in DTE wants that payment within 30 days, or they want you to call to make payment arrangements. Welfare Rights for a very long time has believed that that is not a good program. Seniors should be paying $25 a month, 25 from November to March, so that when at the end of that means minimum $25. So at the end of that program, the end of those 5 months, it'll be a much smaller bill, a much smaller arrearage that you'll have to address. And that means we can send you to Thal, we could send you to Wayne Metro, we could send you to the Salvation Army, we could send you to St. Vincent de Paul, some of these other programs, along with to the welfare department, especially if you are already receiving food stamps, or if you are receiving Medicaid or someone in the house is disabled. So today is the last day for protection. Tomorrow, those bills will be generated. So Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week, you're going to get those bills, and it's going to be very, very scary. Call us at Welfare Rights 313-964-0618, 964-0618. Getting a lot of calls where people are having so much trouble with housing, affordable housing. Satisfaction Realty, they're members and close supporters of Michigan Welfare Rights. If you call Miss Johnson and tell her that you were referred by Welfare Rights and you're looking for affordable housing to rent and purchase, okay? You want to call Satisfaction Realty. Here's the number, area code 248. The number there is 424-8825. 424-8825, and that's area code 248. Just before the Ask Welfare Rights broadcast comes on, the MIHAF commercial, which is MIHAF, and that stands for Michigan Housing Assistance Fund, MIHAF. Marianne and I, that would be Marianne Kramer, and I have been talking about the MIHAF fund for over a year. Shame on you if you're behind on your taxes, your mortgages, behind on a DTE bill, behind on a water bill, behind on a cable bill. Any of those kinds of things that we've been talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. Ad infinitum, ad nauseum. We're nauseous from talking about it. Today would have been the last day for that program, but however it happened, Wayne County Treasurer called and I talked to him about this, and we've got a 2-week extension. Right around the middle of April is when the cutoff date is. So if you need help with a back mortgage, land contract, what's the other one? Taxes, light bill, eating that candy, light bill, gas bill, water bill, any of those kinds of things, they're in business to help out. I don't know what you're waiting for. There is a program that's available called MIHAF. When Mr. Sabri was here about 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, he talked about, I think it's on Wednesdays, Ask the Treasurer. You can call and ask something directly. I live in this house. The house belongs to my mom. My mom passed away. I'm behind on my taxes. I haven't paid. What can I do? Call. They're on the, ooh, Lord, I don't know what else to say. Call. Here's the number, area code 313-388-9799. 388-9799. Call MIHAF and get some information about how to catch up with back taxes, back mortgage payments, back land contract payments, light bill, gas bill, water bill. Talked to a young lady in E-Course just the other day, was working at a factory and some kind of way got into a dispute in 2020, and she says they let her go, and she was evicted in 2021. And I questioned that. What are you talking about? Nobody was evicted in 20 and 21 because everybody knew, I thought that the SARA program, CERA, all right, COVID Emergency Relief Assistance, was available, and you couldn't be evicted. The state wouldn't allow you to be evicted. Some kind of way she missed the message, she missed the phone call, she missed the information, she missed everything that was available, and now she's living with family and friends, and so Welfare Rights is trying to assist her to try to find some affordable housing. I don't understand how it is, and Marion used to always try to train me about this. I don't understand why people can miss so much. How can you miss so much? This radio station, this TV station has been at this 166 Victor, 160 Victor, and anything in between for 150 years. Even if you don't listen to me or some of the other radio broadcast personalities, you know you can always call in and get information. If they don't have it at the front desk, they'll take your name and number and try to find somebody that can help you. I don't understand. You know, folks act like they're just a freak for punishment. I just want to be in the 12th hour. I just want to be just before they bring the hammer down on my head. I want to be the one after having had overlooked and ignored time after time after time. I don't get it. My house information, helping out on those lights and gas and water and all the rest of that, especially now, because DTE, they cannot catch a break. A little bit of wind, lights go out all over the place. Power goes off all over the place. And they're forced to go to the Michigan Public Service Commission and try to get rate increases that they say will help us down the road, and come up with a plan on how to compensate people who lost power and who lost food in their refrigerators or whatnot. So it's, you have to become involved. The number for my house, area code 313-388-9799, 388-9799. Now, there's a couple of other things that are going on. The Water Department has extended a little bit longer the opportunity for folks to get involved in the Lifeline program. That's the Water Department. And it's got 3 segments. And if you're low income, you must get in it. All right, if you're really, really low income, $400, $500, $600 a month, that's the only income you have for you as a single person or as a family, then your water bill could be monthly calculated at $19 to $22 a month. That's what you pay all the time. That protects you from shutoff. If you're a little bit higher income, your bill, water bill, could be around $38 to $43 a month, calculated based on your usage, family size, and income. And then the third component is a $19 payment plan, a $38 payment plan, and the last payment plan is about $50, $51 a month. That's the total amount that you pledge to pay toward your water bill. It's arrearages there, back bills, but that's the amount that you commit to pay. And if you're in the program, you can't have your water shut off because that's an indication that you're trying. Now, Welfare Rights supports a water affordability plan. That means water payments should be based on a household's capacity, their actual income. This is a water rationing program. You can use this much every month. They have raised the amount of liters of water that you could use in your household, and that's a good thing. It's still a water rationing program, but it's going to cut down tremendously the number of people who might be facing water shutoffs. So at Welfare Rights, we urge people, get in it today, call somebody. Here's the number, area code 313-267-8000, 267-8000. I remember, it's a while ago, it was a girl, her name was Barbara Graca. Can't remember how to spell it. I think she was about 9 or 10. Could have been a little bit older. And my family was still living on the east side of the city of Detroit. And I saw something on, might have been WWJ TV, Channel 4, something like that. And this girl, Barbara Graca, again, don't know how to spell her name, but the Detroit community, the Black Bottom, was here, and the Polish community, Pole Town, was right next to it. So as my sister and I, my youngest sister and I, would walk down would walk down McDougal to Gratiot, cross Gratiot, there was a great big old Greasy Spoon hamburger store there. If we had 12 cents, we'd go in there and get us a hamburger. And continue to walk and go to Canfield. And we were on our way to St. Elizabeth's, grade school and high school. And we walked there every day. And it was one of those excursions, walking there, finding Andrew Wallagora, Vincent Sciarrino, my Italian friends, my Polish friends, my German friends, my black friends. We all met up at that corner, and we walked the rest of the way. And it was during one of those excursions, and I'm talking a long time ago, that this girl's name came up, Barbara Graca. I did not know her. And the story is that she disappeared. She was on her way to school, not my school, not St. Elizabeth's, but she was on her way to school, and someone, stranger danger, had kidnapped her. And I think that was my earliest recollection of ever having a notion of being afraid of walking out on the streets. Never was afraid, never. But that incident, and I remembered that, and some weeks, some months later, they found her. She'd been assaulted and killed. And I always kept that in my mind because it told me that when you're walking outside, your parents are not there, walk with your friends. It's the safest thing. Get with your buddies so you can have a crowd, and that's what's safest. Now, I raised that story because several years later, another incident happened that marked something in my head. I was a newlywed, been married less than a year, and had terrible cramps. Oh, my goodness. Ladies know what I'm talking about. 868-4336, 868-0351, 868-0342. Terrible monthly cramps. Boy, so bad that I would fall to the floor and just lay there in a cold sweat in such pain where I couldn't get up. And I was married to a wonderful, wonderful person who I love so very much. And there came a time, okay, I need to go to the OBGYN because maybe there's something else that's going on here. So get to the gynecologist, black man, middle-aged guy. Okay, I tell him what's going on. Of course, I've made the appointment. I've got the right insurance or whatever else it was, the requirements. And we're all sitting in the lobby, and this one goes in and comes out. This one goes in and comes out. And it's my turn. So I go in, and my husband says, you want me going with you? So I said, well, no, I'll be in and out. I don't think it's going to take that long. So I go in there, and I'm on the gurney, And he does the physical examination, touch my stomach, take my blood pressure, all, the usual obligatory tests. And says to me, I'm going to give you a pap smear. I knew what that was. Because I had met Earthling Crockett some years before. So I knew what that was. Okay, all right, I understand. And he said something to me, and here I am on the gurney, my feet in the stirrups. You know what I mean? And the doctor says something about, I know another way of relieving your pain, something like that, and making you feel a whole lot better. Well, of course, I cringed, because I understood, at least I thought I understood what he was saying to me. He was asking permission to assault me. And I'm in a room, unclothed, with my feet in the stirrups and a sheet over me. And I was shaking like a leaf. I still remember this. Now, I remember what happened years before, Barbara Graca, and what happened. And here I am in a hospital or in a clinic room with a middle-aged black man asking permission to assault me. I thought for a minute, what can I do? What can I say? Well, let's just have this exam. And then, anything else, we'll talk about it later. It's the only thing I could think to say, something like that, because I was hysterical and afraid. He said something else. No, just give me this exam, and then we'll talk about anything else after the exam is over. Well, I guess that was irritating, because the device that's used to perform a pap smear on a woman, he shoved it in me. And it hurt so bad, I screamed. And at that point, I called him, Ed! 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 And he heard me. My husband was in the other room. He got up, opened the door. I can't. He kicked that door in. And the doctor said, if you don't get out of here, I hit him square in the face. What are you doing? And he had to help me take this device out of me, help me put my clothes on. Told the doctor, don't get up. Don't get up. I'm going to call the police. Don't get up. The waiting room emptied. Nurses came running. They knew, you could look on their face and you could tell that this was a activity that was not unknown. And he saved me that day, Ed Taylor. Oh boy, and that's the same Ed Taylor we had to send back to the spirit just a few weeks ago. He saved me that day and so many other days. And I tell that story because once again, over the weekend, watching the news, and the story comes up about a woman who is 81 years old, coming home from getting some groceries. Her husband's disabled and in a wheelchair. She goes off to get the groceries. She comes back. Some young fella says, can I help you with the groceries? She said, thank you, but no thank you, I can manage. You sure? Yep, I can manage. She watch him walk away, and she's putting her groceries in the house, and he comes back. And she's still bringing groceries in and out, whatever it is that she's doing. And there he is on the porch, shoving in the door, wrestling with her. The husband is hysterical because he can't help because he's in a wheelchair. And this animal wrestled with this 81-year-old woman, gets her outside, and sexually assaults her. So, whatever clothes she had on, he pulled them off. He pulled them up. He pulled them over. Whatever he did. And he sexually assaulted an 81-year-old. Now, once we heard that story, certainly we men, I know my community is going to stand up against this kind of thing here. And I knew that after 1 or 2 days we would gather together, and we did. There were multiple demonstrations being called, multiple marches, multiple rallies being called. And I attended the one that was over at the Greater Burnett Church right off of Schoolcraft. And the commitment there with however many people that came, they were still coming as the rally got started. The commitment was if we have to march all night for the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, we're going to continue to march until we find this scallywag. And in the conversation, as folks were preparing to engage the rally, to engage door-to-door leafleting, to engage standing on street corners and passing out flyers that identify a sketch of this, what people say, it looks like a 20-year-old. He's 20, our elder's 81. A sketch, and you know, sketch looks like everybody you know, but there's some features there. And the community, as of today, this is Friday, the 31st of March, is still out, going door to door, corner to corner, block by block, looking for this demon. Part of the conversation that was going on at the one rally where I was, and there were rallies all over the place, all over the city, was that how could such a demonic thing be engaged by a person so young? And the response seemed to be, we're raising young men who are not taught by older men how to be manly. And I thought, okay, maybe there's some truth in that, because we've got a plethora of events that we're dealing with. A younger African-American man working at the Wayne County morgue knew that there was a funeral, knew that a funeral was coming because he was in charge of getting the remains together for this upcoming funeral. He was part of the group that went, if my memory serves me correctly, to the house to bring the body to the morgue. And the next day he went to that house, since he knew the address, and robbed them. You know, it's a new kind of empty, a new kind of demonic behavior, a new kind of character flaw to do that kind of thing. Another young man and 2 friends on the east side going to a strip mall, a meetup of some sort planned, shots fired. A 28-year-old woman shot, and a 9-year-old little boy shot in the stomach. A new kind of character flaw. Kids in the 3rd grade in Nashville. Here comes a 28-year-old person with 2 assault rifles and a 3rd automatic pistol, and shot 3rd graders and 3 other adults. 6 people dead altogether in that rampage. And of course, that looked like death by suicide. And that was the latest, I don't know, unless there's something happening right now, that was the latest mass shooting. Again, this morning, the man that was at the country activity with hootenanny and country songs up in his hotel room had been denied entrance to 4- and 5-star hotels. And according to the new FBI renderings, caller, I'll be right with you, he was felt alienated because he wasn't being given the quote-unquote 5-star treatment he was used to. So he smuggled a series of guns into that facility. That was 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Broke out the window and shot, reloaded, and shot down into a crowd of thousands. When the dust cleared, there were 58 dead there, and I've forgotten how many injured. Dr. Glaude, all right, Princeton University, director of Africana Studies at Princeton, used a phrase the other day after the recent murders of these third graders. America's broken. Been broken for a while, but it was the first time he used that phrase. This country is broken. Caller, you've been very patient. Thank you for waiting, and thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights. Caller, you are on the air. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Grand Rising,
And
Maureen.
Grand Rising, and thank you very much. Good, Mr. Engineer. We need just a little bit more volume there. All right, Grand Rising, Madam Linda, how are you this morning, ma'am?
I'm feeling wonderful, and thank goodness for my community neighbor. Janet called me, and she says, "Hey, are you going to call in this morning or what?" Maureen's asking for call-ins. See, I wasn't sure. It was the show was going to be broadcast today. Forgive me for that. But we got people looking out for the TV station.
Well, I'm glad. I've been going through some of these activities that have been happening of late, and I would be very proud if you would bring us up to date on any Highland Park activities that we need to know of. And Mr. Engineer, if you have any more of that delicious cold water that you guys hide down here, all these allergy medications I'm taking is dusting. Here he comes. Madam Grand Rising, what is it we should know about Highland Park?
Well, let me tell you, Wednesday, our block club, McLean Block Club, had an ancestors salute dinner, and it was beyond words. Can I tell you?
Okay.
What the ancestors dinner theme was about, and I hope other communities will practice this as well. You have to honor those that came before you.
That's
those
right.
shoulders that we stand on right now, and that's what we did.
That's right.
We had over 35 block club members there. We had enough food to feed a small army. You hear me?
Marion said that. Okay.
We had a memory table where everybody placed their transition loved ones on the table.
Okay.
And we even had people made posters of their family, lineage. And then each person, as we were eating, would stand up and would share a memoir or something that they remembered. It was all so heartfelt because some people were saying they hadn't talked about their mother passing in years,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Their
okay.
father passing. I mean, we learned a lot about each other. It was such a trusting space that one of our neighbors' granddaughter was there. She was about maybe 8 or 9. She raised her hand. She wanted to speak.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And it was at the recreation center from 5:30 to 7:30, but we didn't leave out of there till 8.
Okay.
Even so, the recreation director came in and shared because her mom passed, less than a year and a half ago. So everybody was there as one big family instead of one block club,
Okay, that sounds so warm and so memorable because we coming out of COVID, at least that's what people believed. 3 years. 3 years we've not been able to do some of the things that we always did routinely. So to take a moment and stop and remember loved ones that we may have lost over these last few years and even before COVID, I know that was a special event.
We're making this an annual event.
Okay.
And, it's similar to Kwanzaa, what I always learn. When you have events like that are community, you make handmade gifts. And so I've got an angel for you too, Maureen.
Thank you. I need an angel. I need about 3, 4 of them. Okay. I tell you,
I think this one is big enough to carry you through this path. Okay.
I need that angel. I need that angel. So
I got it
we
for
will
you.
talk later on how I can connect with you. Okay.
I can always pass it to Marion.
Oh
You and
no,
her
she'll
every
forget
time.
where she put it, and then next thing
All
I know,
right.
it'll be her angel. Yeah, later on
Right.
it'll be Marion's angel. So, okay.
Right. Yeah, you're right. We'll get together soon.
All right, all right. Well, Madam Grand Rising, what else has been going on? I haven't talked to you in a couple of weeks. What else have we missed in Highland Park, or are there updates about new events? You've got a
Well, yeah,
new
today is, we
administration.
talked about COVID, right?
How's that
And
new administration working out so far?
oh, well, she had a city address on the 23rd, which was very informational. She introduced all of the departments, and it was just an hour-long meeting. It really wasn't a question and answer period, but she wanted everybody to know that she's here with boots on the ground and let everybody know who was the DPW director, who was the new police chief, who was the new HR. That's what it was about.
Okay, information.
Hmm.
Okay, all right. I like the way that sounds. So this is just March. So far so good.
Yeah, just 3 months. So far,
Okay.
so good. Like you mentioned, COVID is not gone,
No, it's
y'all.
not.
And it's not quiet either.
No, it's not quiet and it's not gone. And we still wear masks at my school. Anybody that
Yeah.
doesn't have masks, I still have some left. You can come by and pick up a case because we're not finished with this yet.
So today is Friday. What that means here in Highland Park, and anybody is invited to the Ernest T. Ford Recreation Field House
My favorite
at,
place.
at 10 Pinkett. Come and get your vaccines, your boosters, and you're tested today from 9 to 3 p.m.
Wonderful. And you don't need an appointment. Walk
Walk
ins.
in.
All right,
Walk
no
in.
waiting, just walk in.
No
Okay,
waiting at all.
that news is good. Now, I'm going to ask you one more thing. And I'm paying attention to this, because I'm a social worker. I'm a school social worker.
Right.
And I'm watching what's going on at my school. And I try to pay attention to activities going on in other schools. And now the name escapes me. This is a African American superintendent in a school, I want to say in New York City, and talked about the loss of educational norms over the last 3 years and how difficult children across the nation are having things to try to get themselves acclimated. They've forgotten so many things because we did virtual learning at home, and that didn't work so well. And now that kids are back to school, mostly full time, how hard that our children are having it. And the thing that stuck out to me, Madam Grand Rising, is that they showed this one kid, his head was down on the table, and the teacher was lecturing, and he was just so removed from what was going on. He was looks like it just looked like he had checked out, and he couldn't have been in anything more than the second or third grade.
Oh, wow.
Madam Grand Rising, what are you seeing as part and parcel of the Highland Park School Board? What have you heard about the difficulties that our children are having to reclaim education lost over these last 3 years? What are you hearing?
Well, I do want to say a success story that happened this month because, March is reading month. And Barber Preparatory Academy, as well as George Washington Carver here, celebrated reading, and it was videotaped. Well, it was feed live from the both schools, and the senior homes were able to watch it, as well as anybody that had the Zoom link. And the children were outstanding. I'm going to be a little bit prejudicial and said Barbara stood out more than anybody because they even submitted their own poems. And I was very impressed with all of them because they spoke with pride and enthusiasm. That's a success story, and this month is Reading Month, and that's what Barber and George Washington Carver celebrated. Now, there is a stage at Barber that we're looking to revamp, reconstruct, as well as a swimming pool too. You know, Highland Park is known. When I went to Highland Park, and many of the Highland Parkers, swimming was part of our physical education. So we're looking to open back the pool at Barber School, not only for the students but for the community.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that, and I'm sure there are other success stories, but
Yes.
across the board, Madam Grand Rising, our students are struggling. They're dealing
Yeah.
with depression. They're dealing with feelings of I don't know if I can ever catch back up again. You can already see we've got all kind of mental health challenges from folks that are in their 20s and 30s, all kind of new things that the that the community is finding it difficult to grapple with. You know, and I remember John Engler, and we had a number of mental health, emotional health facilities where persons who were born with a diagnosis, an emotional diagnosis, used drugs and were forced into psychosis and different kinds of physiological disorders that required long-term mental health treatments. And we had Lafayette Clinic, and we had forgot the name of the one over on John C. Lodge in Claremont. We had a lot of places where
We
people
did.
can
We had a
go.
lot of local places.
Yeah,
In the
and
city.
John Engler closed each and every one of them,
Yeah.
talking about that should be a community issue, and we should care for and treat those folks out in the neighborhood. And it has never worked, you know.
It's never been the same, has it?
Not since we have I have relatives that are employed at different hospitals, and they tell me that the mental health, the psych wards at the hospitals are always on full with gurneys in the hallway because there's so many people seeking emotional corrective help.
Yeah.
And there are no long-term facilities like it used to be. And Madam Grand Rising, you have no idea. There was a time as a social worker, somebody would call me and they would say, my cousin is having an episode. And I would go over there, or most of the times I would just call, talk to them and they'd tell me what was wrong. And I would call the police and go there, take a look at what was going on, and then I'd write a petition. This person needs to go to receiving hospital for 72 hours for a close evaluation, and then determination by the social work team there for further treatment if needed. And those days are gone. My relatives tell me folks that are low income and moderate income that are suffering with emotional challenges are going to continue to suffer with those because there's no cure, but there's also little or no support, no help, none.
You know, for years, my father was a male nurse at Northfield State Hospital.
Wow.
And when I was growing up, and that was one of the facilities that Engler shut down.
Well,
Besides our local mental health facilities, we see the people walking the streets every single day, or either they're in families where they just can't get help. It's criminal.
yeah.
Criminal.
Yeah. I was just talking just before you called in about this 81-year-old African-American woman that was sexually assaulted a few days ago.
No.
And it's all over the news. This is Friday. I think that happened Monday. Might have happened. I think it was Monday. And the culprit, the one who the suspect is supposed to be in their 20s, and already you have to have some kind of a mental issue to be able to do that kind of thing. But, we're working very hard, different community groups, to get that culprit, to find that rat bastard, and get him off the streets, because there might be somebody else 81 years old trying to bring their groceries in. But that's where we are now. That's where we are now. People
Just like
with
you mentioned,
all kind of
your
flaws.
family that works in the medical and the hospitals, they say that their gurneys are filled. The guilds are also filled with people with the mental and emotional issues, you know?
Well, we're not caring for them.
Yeah.
We're not caring for them, and
No,
you know, we have evidence that, you know, we can't get assault rifles off the streets, and we can't get assault rifles off the streets because the National Rifle Association says if instructors at Oxford or instructors at Michigan State University, if instructional staff and maintenance staff and cafeteria staff, if the dietitian, if the librarian had a gun and the culprit broke into the school, the college, then things would have turned out better. Just a ridiculous kind of assumption. So we're not going to be able to get assault rifles, and people are, you know, demanding that something's going to happen. Don't work up a sweat about it. If they didn't care about the 19 or 20, I don't forgotten how many got killed at Uvalde in Texas, and almost 300 officers from immigration, from Homeland Security, Sheriff's Department, the Marshal's Department, the local police, okay, the Marines, the Boy Scouts. It was almost 300 grown folks, and they waited 71 minutes to go in and stop this carnage. So if they didn't care about that, and Sandy Hook, first and second graders got shot in the face, 20-something of them. You didn't care about that and these other events. Here, somebody drove in a car to a gay club in Florida
Right.
because they didn't like gay people, or they didn't like a gay person or something ridiculous, and they drove to go and shoot 51 more people, and 30 of some of them died. You know, another fella mad because Trump says Hispanics are taking over the nation. Well, this guy drives from Texas, or drives to Texas, across 3 states with automatic assault rifles, and kills 20 or 30 women. Women. And Professor Eddie Glau, Princeton University director of Africana Studies, says, ladies and gentlemen, the country is broken. I'd say that's a good analysis. We are broken. Don't care nothing about these kids. Don't care nothing about the 81-year-old being assaulted. Can't walk to the store at night to get you a loaf of bread. My cousin, Tracy Golden, getting shot and killed trying to get a bag of chips and a loaf of bread.
Bless your heart.
We're broken, and the only way for things to change is that the community is going to have to step up. And I'm going to make a few announcements in a moment about some of those events. Madam Grand Rising, give us your last piece of information and your final words of wisdom. And I'm so glad to hear your voice.
I'm glad to hear you, too. I don't know if you knew it, but Marion said that she could not contact you because you were invited to the event. But I got you 3 angels now. I just pulled them out for you.
Okay.
If that was your request.
I'm going to need them. Thank you, Madam Grand Rising. And as always, if we don't have all kind of meetings and demonstrations or whatever else, I'll be back here next Friday. And thank you for calling in.
You're more than welcome.
All right. I'll see you
now.
soon.
Have a good day.
All right. Thank you. Okay. All right. We're down to our last about 8 minutes. 313-868-4336, 868-0351, or 868-0342. Couple of more events are coming up. There's a senior task force. Welfare Rights is reorganizing and relaunching the senior task force. Senior task force used to be with Flora Kamens, Miss Eastside, Early, and 2 or 3 other folks. It was more than 2 or 3 others, about 20, 25 people. They're all retirees doing some work together to stop these assaults against seniors, to do something about these rising apartment rates and no repairs in senior buildings. Senior Task Force is organizing and starting again. The second meeting will be Wednesday, April 12th. Wednesday, April the 12th. And that meeting is going to start at 5 o'clock in the evening. When I say evening, don't you seniors be talking about, oh, no, I don't want to go out at night. Look, you be out on casino night and wearing them red dresses with the split up the back. The meeting starts at 5. It'll be over at 6:30, 90 minutes. We'll be down at Central United Methodist Church right there at Woodward and Grand Circus Park. We start at 5 o'clock. You have to call Welfare Rights to RSVP because a meal is being served. So call us at Welfare Rights to let us know you're coming. 313-364-0618. About to give the wrong number. 313-964-0618. Call us at Welfare Rights. That's the Senior Task Force meeting. It's coming back together again Wednesday, April the 12th. There is a community crime summit. Welfare Rights is organizing a community crime summit. Thank you, sir. That event is coming up on Sunday, April the 23rd. Sunday, April the 23rd. You might wonder, well, why are we meeting on Sunday at the church? Well, looks like that's the place we need to be. We need to be where the Spirit is, because clearly the places we've been meeting, Spirit must not have been there. So the Community Crime Summit, you have to RSVP there. It'll be at Welfare Rights, which of course you all know. Welfare Rights is located in Central United Methodist Church, Woodward, right there at Grand Circus Park in Detroit. If you don't know, or if you've forgotten where Central United Methodist Church is, it's across the street on Woodward, across the street from the Fox. If the Fox Theater is behind you, you walk across Woodward, make a right turn. The church is at that corner. Left turn puts you at another church. Cross Woodward, turn right. The church is right there, Central United Methodist Church. That meeting is Sunday, April the 23rd. It starts at 2:30. We're going to be on time. We're going to start at 2:30, and that meeting is over at 5:30. I'll be reaching out to Malik Shabazz and the Garfiites, because we need someone from that group to be on a panel. I'll be reaching out over the weekend to a New Era. We'll need somebody from New Era to be on the panel. I'll be reaching out over the weekend to Detroit 300, to Pastor Mo, to Pastor Ride Out, some of the other folks, Pastor Bobby. I read into him yesterday, or day before yesterday. So we've got two panels, one in the early part, that'll be the 2:45 panel, so that the folks, the activists that have been out in these streets and fighting this crime on the eye-to-eye level, what is it that they're seeing that the rest of us need to know about? And then we'll be meeting, listening to those panels, asking some questions. We're going to take a quick break at that time, or after those panelists have given us our share of information. And then we'll be talking about solutions, the last part of the meeting, where Carolyn Baker from GBI hope to get Charles Simmons, Baba Charles, from the Hush House to be on that second panel. Short panels. We're not talking about all day, all right, to talk about solutions. What can we do? We're not interested in anybody talking about we need to reinstitute the death penalty. That's foolish. And we're not doing that. What can we do with these gas stations that are scenes of robberies? What can we do at convenience stores where you can't go in and buy a loaf of bread when the sun goes down? What can we do to some of these activities that are going on? And it's mostly young men, mostly African-American young men, that hold their guns like this and threaten you for your car keys, and or your money. How can we do something to impact that? That's the Community Crime Summit. An email and a YouTube message and a Facebook message is going out this weekend to inform people about that particular activity. Sunday, April 23rd, from 2:30 to 3:30, parking is free. One more thing. June 10th. June 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is on a Saturday. There will be a 1 o'clock p.m. matinee showing and a 6 o'clock evening showing. What am I talking about? There's a new film documentary called Whose Water? And is the story of water access issues happening in Detroit, in Highland Park, in Hamtramck, in Durango, in Philadelphia, in Lowndes County, my buddy Catherine Flowers, all across the country. Kate Levy, the producer and filmmaker, has been all around the country for the last 4 or 5 years taking pictures and writing down the stories of people that are having to struggle to access public water. You know, you have to pay for your water. That's what your taxes are for. So at that date, on June 10th, and mark that date, we'll be at WC3, Wayne County Community College, the Northwest Campus, West Outer Drive in Southfield. A 1 o'clock showing, 6 o'clock showing, $5 to get in. The place holds quite a few, but we're going to aim at no more than 750 people. After 750, we won't be able to help you. A daytime performance, a daytime operation, and a 6 o'clock operation. If you want to know any details about the Whose Water, I mean, this is a premiere in Detroit. So we're going to have the big lights, and we're going to have a band, and we're going to have sounds, and, you know, all of those kinds of things to announce that this film documentary that some of us have been working on for the last 4.5 years is finally done. And we're going to premiere it in Detroit on Saturday, June the 10th, at 1 o'clock, and again at 6 o'clock. Well, we're coming down to the last, we got 1 minute left, Tim? 1 minute? All right. We're down to our last 60 seconds. To the elder that was sexually assaulted. There's nothing we could do to change this horror of what happened to you. I shared my story about what almost happened to me, but we're sick, just horrified that this kind of thing happened to you. Welfare Rights is certainly available to help with anything you need. We understand that you have family there with you already. But in case there's something else that any of us can do, there are a ton of folks that know about this. So if nobody else can solve anything, we can't find it for you. But the people in the community are looking for that rat bastard, and we will get him. We will find him. He won't be able to do that to any of us ever again. Until now, and the next time that we're together, the Lord willing, and the creek don't rise tomorrow, is April 1st. We'll be thinking about April 1st, April 2nd, Marvin Gaye. April Fool's Day tomorrow. Whatever kind of trick you play on somebody, don't make it a mean trick. Make it a nice trick. Until then, my name is Maureen Taylor. I work with Michigan Welfare Rights, 964-0618. Lord willing, the creek don't rise. I will be back here next Friday, or will I? Next Friday, I think, is Good Friday. So I may not be back here Good Friday, but we'll see. Bye.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabree. We are living through unprecedented times with a global pandemic now approaching its 3rd year. As a result, the Michigan Homeowner Assistance Fund was created. This fund, administered by the state of Michigan, is designed to help homeowners cope with pandemic-related hardships, such as delinquent property taxes. To see if you qualify, please visit. Call 313-388-9799 or email taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.